Hello everyone, welcome to Game Junk Prototype episode 92, recording on Sunday, January 30th, 2022. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Andrew.
And yet again, a lighter week. Before Sean loses his mind, next week, top 10 games of 2021. Okay,
Sean, we're locking it in.
Frank, you gonna tell people? You gonna give an update before the whole show? He's like, "What are we doing? What are we doing? What's the problem? What's the problem?" I'm like, "Okay, next week, I promise." Okay, I promise. And I've made some serious headway with my list. It's still changing. It changed this morning. So that's coming next week. Today we're just gonna do some junk mail, talk about what we played. Huck, some announcements maybe you wanted to get to?
Yeah, so first announcement, Epic Dumpster Bear 2, Jank Brain, still on the Nintendo Switch, still cheap, still a great game. Go pick them up. Help a guy out. Come on. You don't pay anything for this show. You could treat yourself with those two gems of a game. Second announcement, we got 0 comments about the new Game Junk YouTube video intro on Game Junk. I'm very disappointed with all the Game Junk listeners. Sean poured his heart and soul into this new intro video, and no one said a goddamn thing about it. So everyone needs to go to YouTube, check out the new amazing intro video, and just leave a like, share even if you want to, and leave a comment saying, "Sean, you're the best." That's all I ask.
Sean is the best. He's also done some new cover art. It's been a long time coming, but depending on your podcast feed, you may or may not be seeing brand new Game Junk cover art, which is exciting. So Sean's doing lots of work too with the Game Junk Plays. It Takes Two Part 4 is up. This is, you know what? Sean's the best. We love Sean, don't we? Don't we all love Sean? In the comments, tell Sean how great he is. I think he's great. I tell him that all the time. But you should too. And you know what? While you're at it, let's say you're listening to this podcast. You don't watch it on YouTube, which is fine. Who cares? But we would like to hit that monetization point. So, just make a couple fake YouTube accounts, whatever you got to do. If you got a bot creator or something like that, have them subscribe, get us into that monetization zone, like, subscribe, do all that garbage. Let's make it happen. YouTube.com/GameJunk.
Let's get some bot subscribers. That's what we're interested in.
Make Sean see the fruits of his labor.
Yeah, well, thanks. I mean, the logo and stuff wasn't that much work, but I will say the editing for part 4 of It Takes Two was a bit of a pain in the ass, mainly because we had some recording technical issues. So it became this patchwork of using Frank's backup video and all this stuff.
I blame Sean upgrading to Windows 11.
May have been a factor. Well, it definitely was a factor, but not Windows 11's fault. Just, didn't have some things set
Sean's
right.
doing the work. I'm playing the games. I'm playing all the games to make sure these lists are accurate for prosperity. For posterity. Whatever the case may be. I say both. Why can't it be both? All right, let's get into some junk mail. So I'm going to group these first two.
Or were we going to talk about the Halo?
Oh, shit. I forgot. How did I forget? The Gangrene Nation's going to be blowing their stack. We're not talking about the Halo Infinite television trailer that debuted today during the AFC Championship game. Now, Huck, we forgot to talk about this. What did Tony Romo say about this?
Oh, so who's his co-announcer guy?
Jim Nantz.
Jim Nantz. So Jim Nantz does the plug, right? The pre-scripted Paramount Plus Halo series. Stay tuned to watch. And Romo right after chimes in like, "That's a video game. Why are they making a TV show out of it?" Right away, just starts chirping it. I was like, "Oh yeah, Romo, you're the
Romo's
best."
always he's got this. He thinks he's like this real sarcastic wit. He's always he's really starting to get obnoxious. Just take it down a couple notches there, Tony. I do like you, but he's gone too far. People probably say the same thing about me, but that's okay. The Halo TV show trailer coming to Paramount Plus. Is it March?
March 24th.
I've been playing Halo like crazy. I still have not missed a weekly reward. I've done every challenge in Halo Infinite multiplayer. Have not missed anything yet. Still loving it. Still get my fix. Only multiplayer game I'm playing right now. TV show. Huck, you are blown away by this trailer. I couldn't.
Is that what I said?
Dude, you were gushing.
Well,
Gushing.
I
You
was
go first.
okay. My what do you guys do on Film Junk? Pre-rating?
Pre-watch.
Pre-watch score would have been probably 0. And coming out of it, I would say it was probably like a 4
That's
out
a
of 5.
pre-trailer watch, not a pre-watch. We're
A
technically
pre-trailer
still
watch.
in the pre-watch phase of the Halo
Okay.
TV show.
Yes. Okay. So whatever I'm supposed to say, that's what I did. A 0 to probably a 4. Actually, I was pretty impressed. I thought I don't really care about the story aspect of it, but I thought the characters looked great. I thought the CG of like the ships and the aliens and all that stuff looked good. I was pretty impressed with the production levels overall. I mean, obviously there's a lot of like stuff people will love that are Halo fans. Like it shows the minigun and the Warthog car and the ship and a bunch of the bad guy stuff and the shields and all that other Halo terminology I don't know about. They showed it all. They showed a bunch. I think it's I thought it was pretty good. I probably won't watch it.
Comments right now. But I thought it looked okay. I guess I'd be pre-watching at a 3.5 out of 5. I just subscribed to Paramount Plus this week, not even knowing about this, just to watch King of Queens now and then. And so I might check it out. We'll see. It looks okay. Clearly, like the heaviest of heavy, almost vomit-inducing Mandalorian influence here. I agree that the Master Chief sounds like the Mando. The whole vibe is Mandalorian-ish. Like, it looks pretty good. I agree, technically not bad, but still looks a bit like TV, current TV. Let's be honest. It's not blowing me away, but it looks competent.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. Like it just the integration of the CG stuff into the live action, I think looks pretty cool, and that's probably the selling point. Now, story wise, it's funny because we were talking about Halo Infinite and how the mythology of Halo is just a complete, like, who knows what's
Debacle
going on.
is the word we like to use on this podcast.
Yeah, and I'm curious if they can crack that somehow. Like, I guess if they're starting over and they're obviously going to have it for people who don't know anything about the game to be able to come in and understand the story. But then I also was reading some stuff that people are pointing out that there's already differences from the game, which I'm sure people are going to be really pissed off about. But the big thing that I was surprised about, and we were talking about this beforehand, the voice of Master Chief. So it's Pablo Schreiber, I think, is the actor. Liev Schreiber's brother. Is that right, Huck?
I think so, yes. As far as Wikipedia links and linking works, yes, that is correct.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm not that familiar with him, but like, just not like I was saying with Halo Infinite, using the classic Master Chief voice is kind of a problem now when you try to do something a little more dramatic. So then hearing a different voice for this, I was like, oh, that, like, I don't know if I like it or not. I can't tell. Like, it's different, and I think in the long run it's probably for the best. But yeah, I really don't know. Like you were saying, comparing to Mandalorian, Frank. Like,
I'm waiting for the IGN article. Why some Master Chiefs can take off their helmet and some can't, and like all this stupid lore about Master Chief's helmet, like, or Spartan. I know it's Spartan. Don't lose it, Halo heads. I'm just.
But I mean, I'm curious. Are they going to keep it that he doesn't talk much? Again, kind of like with Mandalorian, man, a few words. Like, is that like? I think that works in the Mandalorian, especially with kind of the Western vibe. I don't know if it'll work for something like this.
Surprised it's not baby Cortana
Yeah.
going around with Master Chief. All
Yeah.
right. Looks okay. I'll check out the first episode. I'll give you one.
Well, you
After that-
subscribe to Paramount Plus now. You gotta.
It's $5 a month. Who cares? It's worth one King of Queens episode a year. All right, junk mail.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm grouping the first two together relating to portable consoles. This one comes from Gene's receding hairline. Frank, what are your thoughts on the analog pocket? You better expand that to everyone because I don't even know what it is. Next, from Zenitrude, I'd also like to hear Frank's and anyone else's thoughts on the current crop of portable retro consoles. Since Frank hates Nintendo so much nowadays, despite pioneering the audio unboxing format with the 3DS XL, I gotta know what his go-to shitter gaming experience is in 2022. Please don't say the iPhone, Apple Arcade, or I may throw up in my mouth.
Yeah. So, Analog Pocket is like a new portable gaming system that plays Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games, and I think it does other stuff too. It looks like Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Atari Lynx. So,
I did look it up before the show, so I know what it looks like.
it looks nice, and it's a cool thing. I mean, if you are a collector of retro games and maybe you don't have all of these systems, or you need to repair them and they're falling apart, this is a cool way to be able to play all in one on like a brand new system. It's a cool idea. It's just not something personally I would buy, because I still have all those old systems. So if I did want to play them with like the legit games, then I could still do that. To me, I like retro stuff. I'm more interested in, like, I recently found an old Android box I wasn't using and started putting together like a retro box. Like, I don't know what you want to call it, but like just dumping a bunch of ROMs on there and just
Emulator
having,
kind of hub.
yeah, just having access to all the old games basically. Like, and that's a cool thing. That's kind of neat to
Is
have.
the Analog Pocket out yet, or is it still in pre-order? It looks like pre-order.
It said pre-order on the site I just went to,
And it's
which was their site.
$220.
Yeah.
Looks like it's rechargeable. I don't know. It's got a sleek design.
I think you can play on a TV too, if I'm not mistaken.
That's
Which
kind
is
of
kind
cool.
of that's definitely a selling point.
I do like that. Yeah, I have enough old retro games that I don't play. Portable stuff is at the bottom of my list when it comes to that. And I mean, if I didn't care about ecosystems and trophies and achievements, I'd probably be more likely to just mod a Vita or something and, do an emulator if I wanted to play this stuff. Also, a little more curious about a Steam Deck or something like that, but I know I'm just dumping on these questions, but like the idea of retro portable stuff does not move my needle in the slightest.
Yeah. I mean, I am not playing that much portable handheld stuff these days because I never leave the house. So what's the point? But
And my currently my shitter gaming experience is non-existent. I don't play games on the shitter. It's usually a nice time to make some phone calls, catch up on some email. I've moved a lot of my productivity time to the shitter to allow time for playing video games during my work time.
Was my last birthday greeting from you on the shitter, Frank?
Was the what? Sorry, what?
My last birthday greeting from you?
No. I think
Okay. Just checking.
No, I probably did it right when I woke up. I'm like, it's Sean's birthday. Happy birthday.
Now, but Frank,
I didn't call you on your birthday?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, all right. That's
That's what I know that's a thing.
I would if I called
usually
you
do,
on the shitter, I would tell you I'm calling you. I'd let you know, or you'd find out. yourself with the audio.
Well, yeah. But what, like, in terms of the retro game lounge, like, are you out of the game? I know you always talk about wanting to sell
Out of the game, this thing is just going up in value by the day. Just going up and up and up.
I think that is the problem too with a system like this, where yes, it's legit, and yes, for collectors it's great, but everybody says like getting into collecting old games now is terrible because the prices are just through the roof.
I really want to sell. The problem is, I know I say this constantly. I had some of my friends and their kids came over in the summer for a video game night, and my one friend or friends, their son loves Terminator, is obsessed with Terminator. So I was trying to hook up the Genesis to play Terminator 2, the arcade game, and they also love GameCube. Like, they're obsessed with old Nintendo consoles. So I was trying to get those working, and Nintendo 64 doesn't work. I don't know why. My TV, I only had one TV in the house that actually had a coax connection or an audio-visual thing that I could actually use. So it took me 5 hours to almost get something working. And then finally, with like a jiggly cable, I got the Genesis working. And it's like, first of all, I should buy, what's that? Polymega? I need to buy a Polymega, but you know what? I just got to dump this shit. Like, I'm almost dead. I'm never going to play this stuff. Like, it's got to go.
It is still going up in value.
It is. It really is quite a bit. So I'm not, it's not the end of the world. It's in this room. Who cares? But hey, make me an offer. It's available.
Huck, you still have all your old games?
Oh, shit. Oh, so for my old games, I have basically nothing. I've got like a few Xbox games, a few Wii games, and I think I have a few like PlayStation 3 games, which you can't buy digitally yet. I think that's about it. I haven't really like bought that many games physically in a long time. I've been all library and digital. That's kind of been my bread and butter. So basically just all the old games are just kind of sitting in a bin collecting dust, and that's about it. Nothing exciting.
Speaking of it, a lot of rumors of PS3 backwards compatibility coming soon.
Yeah, that's
Digitally.
true.
That's pretty cool. All right, next question. Greetings, game men. Sony has a mascot problem. Microsoft has Master Chief, Nintendo has Mario, and Sony has Crash Bandicoot? No, wait, Astrobot? Or was it Sackboy? It could be Ratchet and Clank, or Nathan Drake, or was it Polygon Man? Do you think it's important for a brand to have a solidified mascot, or is this a marketing relic of the past? What do you consider to be the de facto PlayStation mascot? Okay, bye, Blake in Boston. Bonus question. If we have Blue Haze, Gangrene, and Scarlet Fever, what do we call PC fanboys? Carpal tunnel syndrome? Keystroke? Typeface?
I don't remember what we came up with for that.
Yeah.
I'll get something about beige.
Yeah, it was something with beige. Someone suggested beige something. Can't remember. I would say
Rage?
beige rage, maybe. Maybe it's the rubber ducky. Maybe is that the Sony should be the Sony mascot. But for me, I would say that the mascot is maybe a little retro, let's say. And I think now it's more about the audio stinger. And I think that a lot of companies are focused on, well, first the icon, the branding of the logo is front and center all the time. And so for like PlayStation, you have that like, I don't know, it's like, that like robotic PlayStation voice. Like it's very iconic. And they have that little like, I don't know. I wrote chew. I don't know. I can't remember. I can't think of what the sound is, but it's like chew or something like that. And then like Switch obviously has the snap sound, right? Everyone knows that.
It's pretty
Uh,
good. Nintendo's is good. Nintendo's
and
audio
then
is
and then Xbox has that like almost like zoom in sound effect
yeah.
or
The
whatever with the
Nintendo or the
Xbox logo.
Xbox audio is good. It's not great, but I think like the circle logo for Xbox is the best logo.
Yeah, and then even if you think back, like what was the most iconic? EA Sports, right? EA Sports, obviously came in all the time. Sega with their,
Sega had some
Sega,
good stuff.
or the yelling like Sega, that kind of stuff. Like very iconic. Like you don't even need anything. You just hear that, you can picture the brand, and you know it's a Sega thing. So I think actually like the audio stinger is more important than the actual mascot now.
And I mean, technically, Crash Bandicoot is Microsoft's mascot now. They own Crash Bandicoot, and I do think
Jay was furious about that. He would say he was shaking.
oh, he was excited. Those were shaking of excitement.
Well, I thought the Crash Bandicoot one was anger. I could be wrong.
The mascot. Who cares? I mean, I don't even think Master Chief is the mascot of Xbox. It's the only character they have. Like that people know. And even then it's not that good. I'd rather be Sony where you're listing off Nathan Drake, Aloy, whoever. They just have a million characters from a million great games that everyone loves. Problem solved. You have the best games. Blue Haze, all the way. Every game company wishes they had a conundrum of who their most iconic character is.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's what I'll say is like I don't think it's about the mascot, but I think having one very strong game franchise that's associated with your console is good. And I think it is maybe a bad thing for Sony. Like I know what you're saying, Frank, they've got so many different things. But if you just ask the average person like what would you buy a Sony console for? What's that game you're dying to play on a Sony console? I don't know if there's like
That's the best part. Everyone has a different answer that loves Sony. Well, not everyone,
I
but
feel
there's
like
a bunch of answers. I have a friend that one of my best friends from when I was young, I talked to once in a blue moon. I had no idea. He loves Uncharted. And we just happened to talk about video games. He's like, I play every Uncharted game. I love them. And then someone else has something else. Like, that's the best position to be in. Like, it's what Huck said. Like, the brand is important. The logo, the audio. But in terms of a game character, who gives a shit? I know that the console race is kind of close right now. It's not talked about enough, I don't think. It's only because it's impossible to find a PS5. If there was an abundance of chips and whatever the supply chain issues are with Sony, if they could make as many as they want of both consoles, Sony would be destroying them. People are still trying to get PlayStations.
Yeah, well, like I think we were talking about this a few weeks back, but like, I was talking to some friends over Christmas, and I feel like Sony still has that. They're kind of like the de facto. If you're getting a next gen console, PlayStation is what you want. People just think that, and then you say, well, but what about Xbox, Game Pass, all that stuff? And they're like, what? I don't know what that is. People don't know. It's just somehow Sony has gotten to that position now where if you want like the top of the line game console, people think PlayStation, and that's a good place for them to be.
It's just like the nature of the console cycle, right? PS4 was the better console last gen, so that's still lingering. It could completely shift by the end of this one. It was the same. Xbox 360 was more popular than PS3, but by the end, I think it was starting to tilt, and that bled into PS4. And it could very well tilt this. I think it is already tilting this generation for most people. So, in terms of awareness, but I mean, Sony's got a big year coming, like a huge year with Horizon, God of War, Ragnarok, potentially PSVR 2, Gran Turismo. Like, that's a solid year. Xbox already had the biggest year they're going to have for quite some time. All the big franchises came out. So, we got to see what they have left in the tank. Let's see what other companies they can buy.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm glad we turned that mascot question into a console war question.
Well, yeah, you gotta.
I love console wars. So good. It's my favorite thing. Okay, anything else to add to that? I guess did we answer the what would you consider to be the de facto PlayStation mascot?
Well, I mean, I don't think they have a mascot. I think the de facto game franchise, you already said it. I think it's Uncharted. But so I guess I would have to say Nathan Drake based on that.
I would say Sackboy or possibly Kratos. I think by the end of this year it will be Kratos.
I have no comment.
No comment. Moving on. Because the nature of being podcasters and possibly having to cram content in order to have things to review or talk about on the show, are you guys finding yourselves turned off of a certain type of game? Alternatively, are you finding yourselves enjoying games that you otherwise wouldn't have even played if it wasn't for the show? From Know Nothing.
Dwight and I were actually talking about this a bit while we were waiting for you, and yes, there are definitely some things. For me, I am turned off of playing strategy games now. I find I just do not have the time to learn all the rules and really master it. It's almost like a board game. Like you got to play it a bunch, learn all the rules, learn all the ins and outs, and I just don't have the time to donate. No, dedicate to
We'll need that time for prosperity, brother.
Yeah. And also even like bigger RPGs. Like I really, really want to play Persona 5, and it's just so massive that it's really a detriment, like a turnoff. And also what Dwight and I were really talking about is older games, like games we want to go back and play, even if it's just from like 1 year ago, or like I was telling Dwight, I fired up my Vita. Bry guy. I was telling Dwight I fired up my Vita and I was playing Persona 4 Golden, and I almost like felt guilty, like why I shouldn't be playing this. I should be playing like 2021 games. What am I doing? I've got It Takes Two to play and all these other games, and here I am playing a whatever 5-8-year-old game. What am I doing? And that's like a real.
What are you doing?
That's a real bummer. Like,
I mean, the correct answer is I played it when I was taking a dump. Other than that, you shouldn't be playing that ever, unless all your TVs are occupied. I agree. I want to touch on the strategy game thing too. And like, out of all the genres that exist, my biggest blind spot is strategy. Like, I can't get into them. There is a steep learning curve, but I think my biggest problem with the strategy genre is it's kind of like chess. It's too well balanced. Like it's like they by definition almost have to be perfectly balanced. There's not really a skill advantage. And, like you said, until you learn the ins and outs and all the subtleties, you could be spinning your wheels, you're not making progress, or it can become an exercise in frustration. So I understand the strategic appeal of that genre, but it's just like, even in an action game, if I'm not good, like I get better as I play, but I'm still making progress while I get better. I know strategy games can set up challenges in a way that it's pacing your skills, but I find very early in a strategy game, I'm kind of like, I suck at strategy games, and then I don't get better. So I agree. Strategy games I avoid, but that has nothing to do with the podcast. I love this year. All the stuff I'm playing is coming down to nice 10 to 20 hour games. And for whatever reason, scaling, costs, next gen, the industry is kind of hitting that sweet spot again. It's not about 100-hour games, which I am loving personally.
those games scare me off.
Because long games, that's my biggest thing. Like, I do not have the time.
I think there just weren't that many open world games in the last year, and maybe that's a trend that's going away. I don't know, but
I'm going to talk about a very short and amazing open world game this week.
Okay. But yeah, I guess definitely there's with Game Pass and stuff, there's a real temptation, and it's quite easy to just be like, oh, there's something new that's out this week. I'll check that out. We could talk about it on the podcast. But, for a serial dabbler like myself, that just, makes it worse. Like, it's harder. Although I feel like I have finished more games in the past year or two than I have in a long time. But that is a problem. I got way too many games that I've played a couple hours of, and then something like what were we talking about? Forza Horizon, like that's a game that I feel like it's not really my kind of game, but I did try it out a bit, and then I'm kind of like, well, to really understand it and really be able to like have some sort of, maybe it could be on my top 10 list or something, I'd have to put like 20, 30, 40 hours into that, and I'm just not going to be able to do that.
Sean,
So
it was the game of the year of IGN. And you're not going to
exactly.
What a joke. Honestly, I disagree. A game like Horizon 5, if you like it, whether you play 3 hours or 20 hours. It's that same loop over and over again. So if you like that loop, I think you should feel confident putting it on your top 10 list. It may be bumped off my list by next week based on the current games I've been playing. All right.
Just before we move on, I want to also say that what Dwight was talking about, Game Pass, has actually forced me to play games I normally wouldn't play because I want to dabble in all these options I have. So like Flynn, Son of Crimson, prime example. I would never play that game. Like I would never buy that. But because it was free on Game Pass, I tried it, loved it, played through the whole thing. And I'm finding I'm actually playing a lot more platformers and sort of like 2D action games on Game Pass than I normally would at any other time. And I've been really enjoying them. Also, like the roguelike games, I find I've been playing a lot more of, which I wouldn't probably necessarily gravitate to, but I have been liking them. And yeah, that's probably all I want to say about that. But can move on.
All right. Next question. How do achievements, trophies, etc. work when making a game? Are there dedicated teams for stuff like that, or do people just come up with them as they build the game during play testing, or a combination of everything? Do you generally try to make them the same on all platforms? Still playing through Nobody Saves the World, and as I get some of the achievements, it makes me wonder. From I'm Sorry, Dave.
Well, I can chime on this because I've probably had the most experience making trophies. I know, Frank, you have, right?
I've had to come up with all the trophies for a game before.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say that in terms of do you try to make them all the same? I would say usually, but it's not really like because that's like, oh, it's more like out of laziness and taking less time. You don't have to come up with like tons of extra stuff. It's just the most streamlined way. And usually, I would say you come up with them near the end. Certain trophies are easier to come up with, like any progression, sort of, complete chapter 1, obvious trophy, complete chapter 5, obvious trophy. And then after that, it's really just coming up with whatever you kind of feel like doing, like, does your game have enemies? Okay, let's do kill 5, 10, 20 bad guys. And after that, you kind of create a big giant list of stuff you might want to do. And then you just kind of start plugging in the points, because each trophy is a different point amount and you can only have a certain number of points. And you just kind of whittle down the list. You kind of take your top ones, give them point values, see how many points you have left, pick your next top couple, see how many points you have left, and then you just kind of whittle it down. And yeah, really it's usually just based on gameplay and no dedicated team.
Yeah, there's no dedicated team. It's like a designer, or like a document shared between a bunch of designers, a spreadsheet coming up with it. Usually have a column for, because the values are different on PlayStation and Microsoft. Like, how many points you can have versus the value of gold, silver trophies. You have some kind of, code that's platform based for unlocking that stuff. And you just kind of have some kind of wrapper class that unlocks it on the right thing, and it's all sharing some ID between them all. And yeah, I agree. It's maybe not at the very end, like at some point, like towards the end, past midway, once you kind of know the game, you definitely want to get away from stuff that is going to need new systems, right? Like you don't, if you tell like a code, hey, we need a brand new system to track this idea, it's gonna be like, can we pick a trophy that we could use our current systems for or something like that. So
Yeah.
I mean that's a consideration for sure. But yeah, I mean my strategy when I was designing trophies is, and I talk about this, why I get trophies is hit the main things you want people to see in the game. And for an indie company, make it an easy 1,000. It's only going to improve your sales. Like that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Like, how much do
I
you guys think
urge
stuff
people
like
I
that?
work with and for to make the game an easy 1,000, and not like a trivial 1,000, like not a joke, but like play through the game, maybe go back to one area, and that's it. Done.
Like, do you think that actually does affect sales a lot?
It
Like,
affects
cause,
at least one sale that I'm aware of.
well, yeah, because I know you before a game comes out, you're looking at the achievement list, and I don't know if like easy, hard. I don't know exactly what you're looking for there, but something that I guess is achievable and is not going to take like 100 hours to do.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
would you look when you're buying? Would you look at an achievement list for a game that you had no intention of buying, and because it was an easy 1,000, buy it?
If it was like a game I was on the fence for and I saw it was an easy 1,000, absolutely. Or an
Okay.
easy platinum, definitely.
I guess
There's
one
people
other,
who just look for easy platinums, like it's what they do. So like
yeah.
you're doing yourself no favors by having it like, oh, it takes 100 hours. You have to be the best person at this game ever to get the platinum. I understand how someone might think that's what a platinum trophy is for, but bad
But
move.
I mean, isn't part of it to have some replay value and to keep people playing your game after they've beat the main campaign and stuff like that?
It could, if you think that's an important part to understanding your game, if there's like different story choices but if it isn't, who cares? If they like the game again, they'll play it again. Like I don't buy that for 1 second. And I don't want to, I want to go back to Huck's question. It's not so much would I buy a game because it's easy. I definitely wouldn't buy a game because it's an impossible platinum. So if I see like, oh, this game is going to take 200 hours to platinum and it's all luck based and all this stuff and skill, you have to beat it on the hardest difficulty without dying, you're going to the back burner on this. Like, not gonna happen.
If you want to see how far Frank will go for a trophy, just check out the It Takes Two Part 4 video.
Is the Hell Tower portion playing in real time or sped up? Where did that end up?
I did a bit of both. Like I did some sections sped up, and then eventually I had to do like a 15 minutes later caption because yeah. So that was fun.
All right, well, those were some good questions. So let's get into what we played. I'll go first. Did I say I beat Deathloop? I think I did, but I just had.
I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I don't think you did. I asked you about it. Like,
Okay, well, I'll be talking
offline,
about. I really loved Deathloop. My criticisms would be that I found I always used the Nexus power and Ether. I think there's 4 or 5 slabs. I really only used 2. It wasn't even that fun experimenting with the other ones. They weren't that big of a gameplay change. So that might be my biggest criticism. But the progression of learning and it guiding you through this really weird time-based experience, like I said, the learning curve is steep, but once it all makes sense, it actually makes it really easy and digestible, the story. Couple frustrating things. No one is talking about this. This game is getting 10s everywhere. It crashed 5 times for me at least. And it's soft locked 5 on menus. Like getting out of the pause menu, it's soft locked. This game's been out for how long? And these bugs still exist? Why do I have to hear about all the stability issues with Cyberpunk and every other game? And this game, no one even talks about this. I go to forums and Reddit, and everyone's like, yeah, soft lock. I was like, if you're at the end of a day, let's say you're about to beat the game and it soft locks, you're done. You lose all that progress. You have to go back to the start of that time segment. Like, it's not good. It crashed for me a lot, and I am not alone. And no one seems to mention this.
5 times soft lock. That's a lot of times.
So
for a single.
10 times I had to start over.
Yeah, I mean, if
That's
you're
a
losing
lot.
progress, that's like hugely frustrating. I like
Yeah.
I don't think I remember it crashing on me. And I mean, obviously didn't beat the game, but I played maybe 8 hours or so.
And then the very ending of the game, I did the last day. The last day probably takes an hour minimum to do it all. I get to the final choice of the game, and I didn't really understand what I was supposed to do. And I reset. I had to do it all over again because I made a choice that's basically like the non-choice ending, and I didn't even realize I was doing it, and I had to do it all over again. I was snapping by the end of this game. Like, I would have appreciated this is going to stop your progress. Are you sure you want to do this? And I would have been like, no, I'm not sure. But no, it let me do it. Guess what? Do it all again. Do the whole fucking thing over again. Oh my God. I was losing it. But I still love the game. Will be on my top 10 list. I understand why people love it. I love the weapons, kind of like Halo. Each weapon is so unique and like fun to use. It's a really cool game, and the areas are exceptionally unique, and the polish level ridiculous. So it's a very good game. Blue Haze all the way. Sony exclusive, at least for now. Sorry, who's next?
I only got one thing. I don't know what you got, Huck.
I got a couple, but they're pretty short. I played It Takes Two. I don't know. Did I talk about this last week?
No,
I
you
played It
started
Takes
right
Two.
after we recorded last time.
Okay. Yeah, so I played some It Takes Two and very impressed so far. I must say, I don't know how this game looks so good. They're doing something with the lighting, and obviously the character models are super high res, but I feel like it's such a believable environment that you're walking around that yeah, I'm just really impressed with all the environments they've done, how it looks visually, but also how it plays. I'm very impressed with all the variety so far that I've come across. Now I'm not nearly as far as you guys. I went through to see where I was in comparison to your guys' playthrough, and I'm about halfway through part 2 of your playthrough. So not that far. But very, very impressed.
It has the best pacing of any
Yeah,
game other than a Naughty Dog game. It might be better. There's a new idea every 2 minutes in that game, and visually, there's a new idea constantly.
and also the new ideas are not difficult to grasp, and they give you enough on-screen visual indications that you can see what you need to do, and it doesn't get frustrating because like you forget the controls. So like even when you're doing like the grind rails and you need to jump to the other one, it comes up with the button prompt to tell you need to do it. Now, some people might be like, "Oh, that's cheap." It's kind of like telling you, but I really enjoyed that fact. And like you don't really need them. It's more just like a help if you need it.
Look, if you're a
And
designer, is the challenge of your game for the player to remember what button to press, or is it to like
have
to
fun.
kind of to figure things out or and get
Yeah.
better? Like, get real.
And I'm playing with like so my 6-year-old and 8-year-old sons are switching off. We're like kind of switching every level, and I'm playing with them, and they're handling it just fine. They had a little problem with they were playing together for a little bit. They beat the like mechanical wasp boss by themselves, which I thought was very impressive. And then they had a little trouble with the like flying ship mechanic after that. They aren't so skilled with the controllers that they understand how to control a plane in 3 dimensions yet. But other than that, pretty impressed that they can handle it, and that the designers made it approachable enough that they can figure it out and learn it. And I think also the like death mechanic with 2 people is very good in the fact that you kind of have a short window to keep the game going, and then if you both die, you don't really lose that much progress each time, which I think is great. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might have been a bit of a lull in our Let's Play 4. We'll see
Yeah.
how it rebounds.
Yeah, like the cuckoo clock level, it wasn't the best so far, but it was good.
Sean, you got anything?
Yeah, so I played this game called Before Your Eyes, which is kind of like a weird little indie game that I've been seeing some things about. I don't know if it's really been on like best of the year lists, but certainly seems to be getting a lot of mentions because it's got this interesting mechanic, which is that it uses a webcam as you play through the story to track your eyes. And at certain points in the game, you have to blink your eyes to progress the story. And it's more of a, I guess more of an experience or like, a story than a game. Like there's not a ton of gameplay. And so you're kind of, it's a story of a kid who's growing up with.
This is a PC game, I'm assuming then, right?
It's on Steam. Yeah. I don't know if they've brought it to consoles or if they even could or would, but yeah, I played it on PC. And, so you're a kid who's, your parents, your mom wants you to be this great musician and is kind of teaching you to play piano. And, you have to make choices along the way. There's a few branching parts, I guess. I don't think they have a huge effect on the final outcome of the game, but, basically you're trying to choose if you want to go down that path or do something else. And I got to say, by the end of the game, and I had heard that, it's a bit of an emotional game. It could be one of the closest I've come to dropping tear during a video game. I mean, it didn't happen, but
Now, do they like just physically make you drop tear by blinking constantly? And
no, there's parts in the game where they force you have to keep your eyes open. So, your eyes want to moisturize, but no,
8mm situation.
no, but the story I thought actually was well told, and like the voice acting was quite good. And, I don't want to give away exactly what happens, but there's sort of a reveal towards the end that I thought, kind of hit me in a way that was kind of heavy. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of started me thinking like, it's always a discussion of like, when are video games going to get to the point where, like movies, they can make you cry? And some people say, hey, they're already there. I don't know if I agree with that totally, but, there are a handful of games that are maybe in the zone. Maybe The Last of Us is kind of in there where it's, I would say in terms of big blockbuster AAA games, it's probably the closest to maybe hitting some emotional stuff.
I'm sure we've covered this before. Has anyone ever cried at a video game before?
I have not.
I have not.
No. I know I'm putting off playing That Dragon Cancer because I'm sure that is going to make me cry, but
yeah, that one, I mean, just the concept alone seems like it could do it, but yeah.
I know. Big time.
But yeah, I don't know. I could, let us know in the comments if there's anything, if any video game has made you cry, or if there's any
made you drop tear.
Like I know To the Moon, a lot of people mention. I've been meaning to play that. Haven't played it. Maybe Firewatch. Never finished it, so can't say for sure.
No game will ever make me cry.
Well, hey, It Takes Two. It could happen, Frank. Just leave it open for the possibility. But anyway,
I bought this game. It sounds very intriguing. Just purchased.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's one of those things where it's like the first half hour or so, I was like, okay, it's cool, but like, is this all there is? But then there are some interesting moments where it's like I said, it makes you keep your eyes open for certain things. And then there's parts where you have to close your eyes to hear audio that's going on. And it's the way it's told, because it's sort of like a first person perspective. It actually does kind of immerse you in the story a bit. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean,
screenshots remind me a bit of the, why can't I think of what it's called? I started Psychonauts 2 again with the, when it's not possession, but like you see through another character's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And like the eyelids kind of close the further away you get. Like it kind of looked like that.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I started Psychonauts 2 again. It's definitely taking a bit more the second time firing it up. So I was really enjoying it today. Looking to finish that this week. But the other game, the main game I've played this week, is Solar Ash. Now, I think this is a PlayStation exclusive, currently an Epic Store, I think. Right?
Sounds right.
Not that that's a factor for me, but this game is amazing. No one is talking about this game. It kind of came and went in December, and you know it's getting compared to the Pathless a lot, and I understand it's got a similar skating mechanic. That was kind of the big thing over the past year. Pathless, Ratchet and Clank has a skating thing with the hover boots, and it's like this really. It's an open world game. It's not long. I think it's about 5 hours, 6 maybe. I did 100%, and it took me 10 hours approximately. And like it was so much fun navigating this world. It's like it's this really kind of abstract art, kind of like Deathloop. Every area is totally unique looking, unlike anything I've ever seen before, and really cool visual pacing between each area. Each section or area has a boss that is basically like a fast-paced Shadow of the Colossus. It's like this huge boss that you have to scale, and you kind of skate and do these attacks and slow down time. It's really tough to like accurately describe the gameplay, but it's kind of like Jet Grind Radio but faster, and instead of it being slow and boring to spray paint, you're like doing hit attacks, and it's so fluid. It's so much fun. The first time you learn one of the main mechanics, I'm like, I have no idea what to do. It took me 20 minutes to figure it out, and I feel like that's the one thing that could have been done better in the game. But I love the world. I love like the menus, the polish level. It's the perfect size for me. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Each area is a nice size in terms of how many things you do. Like it is such a good game. I loved playing it. It's the first time in a while where I've been like, I'm playing this game till I beat it. And I beat it over the course of a day, pretty much. It's really good. More people need to be trying this game, especially if you like, I think if you like platinum action games, like the Platinum games, I think people would like this. To me, the main mechanic is way more satisfying and less particular than the Pathless. Like I enjoyed it right away. The Pathless has like that timing element for skating that, you know, it's first of all, it's environment dependent. So you need to like kind of be on a trail and then time it right. Like in order to get speed and momentum, it really like there was too many environmental obstacles. This one is you can go wherever you want, whenever you want. It uses collectibles and economies very well to guide you in certain places. It's got grind rails. Yeah. Don't sleep on Solar Ash. It's a really good game.
Currently on sale on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, I didn't buy it, but it was available for that coupon around Christmas too. Could have got it for like 20 or 30 bucks, I think. But it's making me want to go back. I never finished Hyper Light Drifter because its platinum was like pretty high. Platinum difficulty was quite high. But Solar Ash, guaranteed top 10 material next week. And
Whoa.
That's cool.
Top 5.
I played two things briefly. I played Shovel Knight Treasure Trove on my Nintendo Switch. I never played Shovel Knight, and I must say, this game's real good. Not really a surprise. I knew it was going to be real good. I haven't played that much, but really enjoying it so far. And then the other thing I played was the new Sherlock Holmes game, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. And pretty similar to the other games. Polish level's probably a little higher, but still has that sort of like Frogwares jank to it, I'll call it, where there's just like certain things where the controls are a little rough, and also they're like the cutting in between like cutscenes and dialogue is just like very abrupt, and it's like just like there's certain things that are lacking in the polish level. Like for instance, I think it's Watson. I don't know if they've actually referred to him as Watson, but your like companion guy that's walking around with you does a lot of teleporting. Like I'll be like running through the scene and I'll like turn and pick something up and then I'll turn back and all of a sudden he's just like sitting in the chair next to me instead of like across the room where he should have been. So they are doing a lot of, uh, I guess, just like stuff that the game looks really good, but then there's a lot of kind of like cutting corners to solve design problems I think they had as to like how do we make this not as boring as it could be. So I'm gonna probably keep playing it, but I don't think it will be cracking the old top 10. And that's it. That's all I played.
My goal by the end of this week is to beat Psychonauts 2, to beat Guardians of the Galaxy, and to beat Returnal. Lofty.
That last one, yeah. I don't know.
And, of course, Sean and I need to beat It Takes Two. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a big game week. Pushing hard.
Hey, speaking of Shovel Knight, did anybody know that they released a puzzle game this year?
Yes.
Or was it last year? Might have been right at the end of last year. Shovel Knight Pocket
No,
Dungeon.
I think it just came out like a couple months ago. Did it not?
Well, like, so 2021, you mean?
Yeah, 2021.
December 13th, 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this. Like, I remember vaguely hearing about it and like a while back, and then yeah, it turned up on like some other top 10 list I saw, and I was like, wait, that came out, and yeah, I mean, I kind of want to check it out, but
So that wasn't developed by them. They just kind of like licensed out their IP and then published it.
Shovel Knight is a big franchise for like an
It's got
indie-
amiibos.
Well, I got it right here, buddy. And
Yeah.
there it is, a Shovel Knight. And the kind of crazy thing, like when I was doing trade shows for Embers of Miram, they already had like a ginormous booth. I was like, this game is this big? I had no idea. They were selling merch. Like they struck gold with Shovel Knight. So good for them.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one more thing I did play is I finished Death's Door, which I don't think I mentioned. I don't think I had beaten it last week. But the one thing I didn't mention, I really liked the humor in this game. I thought it was really funny, and I don't know if people really like say anything about that when they're reviewing it. I don't know if that has come up or not, but I really like it, and obviously, like the gameplay is amazing. So. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add as to what we've already talked about, but great game. Will be on my top 10.
I also fired up Kenna Bridge of Spirits again. I think it is Kana though. One of the characters said Kana. And I played it enough. I don't think it's got a chance to crack the top 10. Looks
yeah,
looks amazing, but it's just pretty clunky. I feel the same way I did when I talked about last night. It's too polished. Like everything you do is like an intro cam and an outro cam, and it's just, the pace is just kind of slow. The parry is not that responsive. It just art wise, it's amazing. Controls, design, action, it's good, just not current like action game quality.
yeah, I played a little bit of it, and I was just, it was good, but yeah, it didn't.
Like
Totally
the
hurt
first
me.
boss is frustratingly bad. Like I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I felt like I kind of hacked my way through it. Like after you get the bow and arrow, did you get to that, Sean?
I don't think so.
The first boss is bad. Like it's just bad. It doesn't need to be that hard. And then you die and you have to go to the top of this slide and redo everything again. And I'm like, what? Who designed this? Are you out of your mind? Just have me start at this boss again. Why do I need to slide down this hill every time? Brutal. Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
That's too bad.
All right. Anyone else? We cover it all?
Yeah.
Right. So next week, is the top 10 games of 2021. Come hell or high water. Check us out on youtube.com/Game Junk. Get us to monetization now. On Twitter, Andrew, My Angry Commute, and Equilibrium Sis, Sean, Film Junk. Until next time, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.